I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay. On Cosplay Cafe. Yeah, I'm a cosplayer. You know what I mean. And I do my little turn on the con floor. Yeah, on the con floor. Oh, on the con floor. Yeah, I do my little turn on the con floor. And I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay. On Cosplay Cafe. And I'm too sexy for this song. Welcome to another episode of Cosplay Cafe.
We are serving up a steaming hot cup of historical cosplay this week.
Yes, we are. And to help us do that, we have our co-barista, Andrea Starnes, the lovely, the fabulous, the uber talented. Welcome, Andrea.
Hello, everybody. It's been a long
How are
week.
you doing
I
tonight?
need to be here. I need to be here. I need a little break from everything. So it's good to get to do this tonight.
And we need your presence because we love you.
Nice
And we also have a fantastic guest. We are welcoming her back. It's Laughing Rat, aka Beth, who is just fantastic, so talented, knows her stuff about all things history, whether cosplay or not. So welcome, Beth.
Suck up.
always.
Love you too.
Best content. That's all.
Oh yeah, only the people I like. Like if I don't like you, you know.
You know.
Very true. Very true.
And we already have comments. So Phantom Hive Sass says,
Hi.
Excited. And says, Beth, I love you.
Love you.
And Cool Gamer says, hello,
Cool Gamer.
Love Cool Gamer.
Cool
Shows
Gamer
up
watches us
every
all the
episode
time.
now, and we just love Cool Gamer.
We appreciate it.
So Beth, how are you doing tonight?
Could be worse. Could be worse. I'm competition crunching right now, so I am, in that point of my build where it's almost done, and I hate everything, but also I'm really happy it's almost done. Hi. And yes, there are rats around.
Oh,
which rat was that?
This was. Hang on, let me see your butt. That was Fern.
You almost saw a cat butt just now too. I had to make Thor leave.
I am here for all the furry co-stars. Okay.
So keep Thor distracted down here.
Pardon?
Tell us about your competition crunching. What are you working on?
So my current competition project is an 18th century French and British menswear inspired Roserade from Pokemon Gijinka, which is hand embroidered, has handmade silk roses, and beetle wing embroidery. So it's
so pretty.
Looks okay.
So
it's not
terrible.
terrible.
For people who don't know Pokemon, if you're looking behind Beth there, how the rose on each sleeve is a different color. That's the Roserade has a different colored rose on each arm.
I'm gonna give you the whole layout just so we can show off Roserade. Look at that beauty.
Oh.
Like
you got the hat and the mask back there. Oh God, I started this in 2021.
I've been watching all your recent on it, and it is.
Yeah, and it's been an off and on project. I haven't been working consistently on it for the last 3 years. But it's been a long time coming, and I'm so happy that it's finally going to be done so I can do something else.
I remember visiting your house in 2021, shortly after you just started laying it out. And so
I think I have my big embroidery tambour. So I have I got from Ukraine just after the war started. I ordered a giant Luneville embroidery tambour, which is very similar to the ones that were actually used in the 18th century in workshops that were overseen by like a male embroidery master. And then you had all these women working for hours a day on these entire huge, like 6 by 4 foot wide panels of silk or wool or whatever they were embroidering on, just working on this thing all day long. and that was their job. And so they could do an entire coat like this in maybe a couple of months. I am one idiot with some free time, so this took me like a year.
I like the one idiot because I feel that when we especially start competition costumes, the longer you work, you're like, what kind of stupid moron?
This was a terrible decision. You remember the last time I was on, you asked me, what is your advice for new cosplayers? And I said, don't cosplay.
Don't do it.
Just don't start. And I stand by that.
It's a slippery
100%.
slope.
Don't do this to yourself.
All of us who try to make screen accurate costumes
Mhm.
and forget or ignore the fact that there is a whole team with a huge budget and a workshop and super nice industrial machines.
Cutting edge technology.
And they've got one person that does this
Costumes
thing,
nowadays
one person that does that thing. It's everybody has a specialty, but we have to become specialists in everything.
Literally
And
everything.
half
Yep.
the costumes nowadays are CGI'd in anyway. So we're trying to recreate something that literally does
That
not
doesn't even exist
in.
anymore. Yes.
But give the cosplayer time and they will figure it
We
out.
will find a way.
My brother always says that it's not the artist's job to draw the seams. That's for the cosplayer to figure out.
It's duct tape and a dream. That's what we do.
With some hot glue, maybe.
Yes.
Or in the Star Wars universe, apparently it's a Velcro.
Oh, right.
Like
Yes.
everyone in like the 501st, the Mandalorian Mercs, all of them, they're like,
Yes.
we couldn't exist if we didn't assume there was Velcro in the Star Wars universe, right?
Buttons. There's
It's
no
held on with the
zippers.
Force.
Yes.
And
Gravity's
speaking of
different.
Star Wars, Phantom Hive Sass says, or a team with a budget of a cheese sandwich looking at you, Star Wars. You know what?
And not even cheese, like American Craft singles.
It's the government cheese.
Which is absolutely not cheese, especially if you talk to a Wisconsinite. If you tell a Wisconsinite that's cheese, we might declare war on your entire family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're laughing, but that's not a joke.
I was laughing because I'm scared. I was imagining
Same
getting in this
room.
fight with a Wisconsinite and had like an awkward laugh. I know it's not a joke.
Lily's like, I'm sitting right
oh,
next to you,
no.
and I've never insinuated that. And Kelly, don't think I've ever insinuated. I'm gonna run now. So Phantom Hive Sass says, I'm so excited to see Roserade. You have no idea.
You have no idea how excited I am to see Rose Raid at this point.
Also says, just okay. Beth, stop selling yourself short, please. Agreed. You could go to Crown with that. Mhm.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
I am gonna try. We'll see if they take it or not, but you know, it's up to their jury. It's always up to their jury.
It is literally, you never know when you enter a contest what, because some people are like, oh, you're going to win. You're like, no. Don't go in with that mentality, because you never know what the judges are looking for, what your other competition is going to be. It is literally all up to the whims of a few people on a certain
It could be
day.
your day. It could not be your day. If you go in trying to win, you're not going to have a good time. And if
have
you're
fun.
competing in order to win things, you're competing for the wrong reasons, frankly. But we're not here to talk about competition, are we? We are here to talk about historical cosplay.
Not
Yes.
today, not the competition today.
When you want to talk competition, bring me back. I've got words to say about that.
Oh, that's a promise. I'm going to hold you to that, because we have not done an episode about competition yet.
We haven't.
Have.
We've touched on it, but
You're
never
doing
done a
fast.
whole.
Maybe the competition is the friends we made along the way.
I can
know what?
confirm you do compete with the friends you make along the way, and
Yes.
you're all frenemies, and it's wonderful.
I've learned so much from people I've met in competition, just looking at their costumes, hearing them talk about what they made. Judging contests, I have learned more than I ever thought I would. I'm over here going, how did you do that? I've done this for 20 something years, and I'm just mind boggled by especially the younger cosplayers coming out with these crazy ideas they have.
Agreed. But since we are talking about historical cosplay, so Beth, what does that mean to you?
Historical cosplay, well, So I kind of approach cosplay as an opportunity to learn new skills. If I'm not learning a new thing while I'm doing something, then I'm not cosplaying the right way for me. And I have found that doing historical cosplay is a great way to get in touch with, the structure of clothing, um, how people have kind of lived in their clothes, um, who was making those clothes, what different clothes signified, um, just all of these ways that kind of our sartorial choices kind of feed into our sort of cultural presentation and kind of like, I'm going to use big words, the semiotics of fashion, how we signal things about ourselves through clothing, and then thus, stemming from that through cosplay. So that's always been a really interesting hole to kind of dive down when I'm researching a new cosplay, and finding out all of the little tricks and things that people used to do to make their clothes last, and all of the things that they would kind of take shortcuts on when they looked on the when you look on the inside of some extant pieces, it's just like they didn't give a shit, and they just kind of were like, you know what, we're just going to whip this down and it'll be fine. We don't
Like
have
nobody
to worry
sees
about
it.
it. Nobody's going to see it. Who cares, right? And that kind of gives you some perspective on, because we're so used to factory made clothing where everything is finished with a serge seam, or it's got some kind of finishing on it, but then you go into an historical piece and they don't necessarily need to do that, which means that, when we're making our own outfits, maybe we don't necessarily need to fixate on every single tiny little detail, and sometimes good enough is good enough, which gives a real perspective to somebody if you're like me and you're kind of a perfectionist when you're making something for yourself. um, can kind of give you the opportunity to kind of pull back and say, wait, if just kind of screwing with this and letting it be was good enough for my great 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 grandmother, maybe it's good enough for me too. So yeah, that's where I come from on the point of historical cosplay.
Well, and something I think is really important to remember is a lot higher percentage of people were making their own clothes for a really long time in history.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was somebody in your household who one of their more or less chores, like what we would consider like doing the dishes and making sure our bills are paid online and stuff, was making sure you had something functional to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And our time is still valuable the way their time was valuable, and they had to balance getting it done versus getting it done perfectly. And
Right.
we could probably give ourselves some grace in that area too, because our time isn't any more or less valuable than people 100 years ago or 200 years ago, or however many thousands of years ago clothing was invented. Like,
Right. And usually in a lower class household, it would be the mistress of the household. One of her jobs would be, get the kids washed, get the mending done, get dinner done, and, maybe go do her own job outside of the house. So she did not have time to sit there and fixate on every single little darning stitch. In middle class household, maybe the wife did it, or maybe it was a maid who also had all of these other chores to go do. Yeah, and it was usually women doing all of these things,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
really had to know how to budget their time in order to manage their domestic responsibilities and sometimes their actual working responsibilities.
Yes,
And you
agreed.
think about it,
And
it's still going. It's not even going like literally hundreds of years back. Like my mom talks about it. My mom just turned 75. She talks about her mom and her grandmother teaching them and making the clothes. And we still have patterns that my great great aunt literally hand tore, didn't cut, hand tore out of newspaper to make their pattern pieces. And so like that's where I learned, was from all of what mom learned from them. So it's that passed down, and it really wasn't that long ago that manufactured stuff started coming into more popularity. It was still very bespoke, made for specific people, and the kids stuff was made to grow into and to pass on, so it had to last.
Right.
so how did you specifically, Beth, get into historical cosplay?
That's kind of a long trip. I think, well, the first really like historical kind of cosplay I did was we did an Evolutions group at Anime Milwaukee 2018, I want to say, where we did all of the EVs as Greek gods. And it was fun kind of diving into, what did a chiton look like? How was it pinned? How did they drape them? That one, yes. And we had all of the EVs. It was a really fun group. And we ended up winning a couple awards in the cosplay contest. And of course, the fun thing about a chiton is that it's just a rectangle that is pinned dramatically and belted here and there to create all this, this flowing and drapey fabric. And learning more about, what types of fabrics they would have had access to, what colors they might have used, all of that's very fun. And it sort of got me thinking that, this is a new way to get some interesting knowledge that will be completely useless for a practical standpoint, but, might be kind of interesting on a podcast at some point.
And will completely take the place of the important stuff that needs to be in your head that you will not have room for.
Right.
If you're anything like me. I agree. Phantom Hive Sass says, I really just got to ask Beth about every dang costume I want to make ever.
If I don't know how to do it, I probably know somebody who does and I can direct you. Especially if it's like armor making or something like that, which is not my strength. I know all the theory of it, but it's not a thing that I do on a regular basis. Although I do want to make a lithothorax at some point, which was like a pre-Bronze Age armor that was made out of linen that was glued and layered and things like that. And I think that would be a lot of fun to make. But yeah, if I don't know how to do it, I probably know somebody who does.
Nice. And also want to go back and because this made me laugh. So Lord of Spice, aka Derek, says Kelly has become two people, which, you know what? Usually we're just the one person sharing a brain cell. So yeah, we multiplied.
Divided
One
by
brain
cellular
cell.
mitosis.
Yeah. So what do you have coming up in the future?
Oh God. So obviously I've got Anime Milwaukee's competition coming up. And for kind of a fun and interesting thing that I have taken up, which is a terrible life decision that I'm probably going to regret, I am going to be the cosplay contest coordinator for ChizuCon, which is a one-day con which is held in Madison. That's our new logo.
I love it.
We're going to be revealing that officially tomorrow, so you're all getting a sneak preview. So I am putting together a team and I'm putting together some rules, and I think we're going to be able to put together a really fun show. We're going to have, this is the first year that ChizuCon's contest is going to have different levels. Previously, it's all just been one group. We're going to have a beginner category, we're going to have an advanced category, and we're also going to have a runway category for people who did not make their outfits. Maybe you've got a purchased outfit that you really, really love and you want to show off. The runway category is going to be your opportunity to kind of go up on stage and act out in character, and we'll have an award for that as well. So it's going to be fun.
I really wish more conventions did that.
I think it would be a really good addition to a lot of places because there are so many purchasable options now.
That's actually any of them that I've started doing a lot of conventions running their cosplay contest, and I've put an exhibition category in there for people that still want to present themselves as the character and get to have fun and be on the stage. And we do pick a winner for the exhibition, the one that we felt portrayed it the most, had the most fun, that kind of thing, or the audience reaction is so great to them, because those people are cosplayers too. Just because they didn't make it doesn't mean they shouldn't have that chance to show off.
Right.
And skits aren't always time. There's not always time for them at a con. So this is a good way for people that still want to do something that aren't craftsmen.
I agree. I think, and the performing aspect, the embodying the character,
the play part,
that is a whole other skill.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I just can't wait. Sorry, I was gonna say I just can't wait to get up on stage and scream, "Threshold, take us to the threshold," and watch everybody be really confused when I cosplay my Necromonger original character, because it's like this many people have seen Pitch Black, and then this many people have seen the Chronicles of Riddick, and then this many people remember the weird Necromonger lore that mostly came from like the video games that they released in between movies.
But there's going to be that one person who totally knows what it is and is just going to absolutely lose it when they see it.
We love
Yep.
those people.
Yes, those are the best
know the
people.
little niche. I've done some where I've had one person at a huge convention recognize what character I was. I'm like, you're my best friend now because you know what I am.
So, Beth, aside from or one second, I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, so let's talk a little more about historical cosplay and just what all you've give us some interesting insider knowledge that you've learned in your forays into historical cosplay.
You know, one thing that I have learned, oh God, I've learned so many things actually. God, like where would you even start? Number one, people were not as tiny in history as we think they are. The larger clothing pieces, people would actually take existing pieces and they would cut them down and reshape them, and it would either become like a child's outfit, or if somebody had like a teenage daughter, they would take fabric, because fabric was expensive and fabric was often difficult to get a hold of. So if you had a really nice dress that was maybe getting a little worn under the sleeves or something like that, and it maybe didn't fit very well anymore, it was out of fashion, you would take it, you would remake it into something new. And so, of course, all of the larger pieces got used first because they had more fabric available in them, and they would be reworked into smaller pieces and smaller pieces until finally it was all dust rags. So, not everybody in the late Victorian period had a tiny little wasp waist. It's just that those are the pieces that survived because they were the ones that weren't quite as usable for repurposing. Another thing I would point out is that they loved color. We think of the past as being, because all of the photography particularly was black and white, or it was sepia toned. People absolutely adored ridiculous color combinations, and they didn't necessarily have like magentas and teals and bright purples until aniline dyes were invented in the mid to late 1800s. But even prior to that, they had reds, they had blues, they had yellows, and combinations thereof. Green was very expensive and purple was very expensive, but other combinations they would have access to, and they absolutely loved to make absolutely garish color combinations that to our eyes now. But the medieval period in particular, like, it was not all muted browns and grays and rusts and whatever
Red
other
is
color
usually
I'm
like the
thinking
only
of right
color
now.
you get in there.
Right. But even if you look at like illustrated manuscripts, people are wearing bright blue, they're wearing bright red, they're wearing gold. And not everybody had access to gold, obviously. And, the saturation might vary depending on your, social class, but people still loved to be bright and have fun. And we tend to kind of forget that a little bit, I think.
I have this
And the
book
fact that purple, sorry.
No, go ahead. First, you go ahead.
So the fact that purple is so expensive is one of the reasons that it's associated with royalty,
Right.
because royalty were some of the only ones who could afford purple, which is kind of one of my favorite facts about my favorite color.
And even the purples would vary vastly. Like, they could be almost a blue to an indigo to, kind of a brighter purple that we think of more of a violet, kind of all depending on seasons and what the little, I forget what the little wimple is called that they get the Tyrian purple dye from, but yeah, it could vary vastly, and it was more that it was made with Tyrian purple and it wasn't like a specific color.
Right. No, I have this book that my parents gave me years ago. It is this thick book. I could probably take somebody out with it. It's so heavy, but it's just called Fashion, and it literally goes from at least early, like late medieval, up through the 60s and 70s, and there's so much color and vibrancy in them. And then, like, there's a cosplayer that's pretty local to me that most people might know for her historical work is Asta Darling, and she's been proving to people through pictures and examples, like you've been talking about, there was a varying size in people and a variance of color. She's like, don't think everybody was tiny and bland. She's like,
There's a
there was
survivor's
color, there was
bias. Yeah.
there was shapes. People weren't all identical, and so I do like that she's trying to show that in regard to historical clothing.
And David McDonald, Crayley's hubby, says during the Roman Republic period, purple was only allowed to be worn by members of the Senate, which I did not know.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, David.
I knew you were going to comment that as soon as Kelly started talking about purple. I was just like, there's David with the Romans again. He is the reason that meme about how often do men think about the Roman Empire exists.
I took 8
because he's one
semesters of
those
Latin
guys.
in college. Like I've forgotten half of it at this point. I really should reread my Latin textbook at some point and just get brushed up. But yeah, no.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Unfortunately, on an almost daily basis. Hi, sweetie. Not by will, just by the fact that I spent like 4 years of my life studying the damn thing.
So Cade from Cartoon Commotion checking in says, hiya homies, I'll hang around for a bit so long as I can get back in time.
I
Great
see what
stuff.
you did there, Cade.
We love it. We love
So-
jokes.
It is time for the cosplay catwalk, and I pre-filmed mine because this dress is too glorious to be subjected to my awkward.
You know what?
I'm
At least
so
it was
proud
a
of-
little awkward. Just a little awkward.
I will do the awkward one also, but I'm so proud of this dress. I wanted this Barbie dress since I
You
was
do
a
look
kid.
very hot in
We
it.
also don't have room where we're both standing.
yes,
to do like
I don't have a
full-
whole. I'm in a corner, so
No one puts Andrea in the corner.
except me.
So I'll play mine first, and then Beth, I know you already basically did your catwalk showing off Roserade. Roserade is so pretty.
It's gonna be gorgeous.
So I'll do mine
We
first,
don't
then
know that yet.
then we'll do our awkward one, and then Andrea, you can do your awkward one.
We'll always be. Okay,
You
I
should have
also love your
included the
hair.
shoes.
The hair, though, the hair
Yeah.
on top of the costume. Like, I love, as a cosplayer, of course, I love historical costuming, but hair. I am obsessed with the hairstyles of history.
Yes. I didn't have the bangs, but I tried to do the poof at least because had
The
to.
little pompadour.
I was just so happy that there was a brunette version of that Barbie because
Oh, yeah.
putting this much hair under a wig is not fun. You know that, Andrea.
Because I'm crazy.
But, yeah, I should have showed off my pretty shoes because, like Thomas
You
said,
should've.
my husband. So I got these really uncomfortable pink sparkly shoes. Actually, here,
There you go. Show them on screen. There we go. Those
Nice.
are Barbie
see
shoes.
there. These are
Those
so
straight up
Barbie.
Barbie shoes.
They're so Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
And my husband was like, "You can't even see them under the dress." I'm like, "I know, but they're
The
Barbie."
point is they're
shoes."
there.
You know they're
Yeah.
there.
Exactly.
Mhm. But I should have shown them off in the video. I could have
Well,
looked.
also, if you were ever wearing this to like a con or something, when you walked up the stairs, it would be like
Oh, yeah.
sudden pink sparkle, sudden
Little-
pink sparkle.
Just a
Right.
little peek
I
of it.
really need you to walk up and down a staircase in this outfit now. I want to take a video of mostly just your
Carefully.
feet peeking out from under the, just full of full Tarantino.
Y'all know what does it for Crayley now.
No.
Not feet, shoes.
The shoes,
shoes.
yeah. No, you
She's got
guys
a
should
shoe
see my
fetish.
shoe collection.
It's impressive.
It's
I
starting to
enjoy
take over
shoes,
the
but I like
house.
being barefoot.
All right.
Same.
So I guess
love
we'll
them.
do our little shimmy. I'm gonna show off Crayley more.
I'm too sexy for my Victorian literary cosplay.
You were half off the camera.
Yeah.
You'll,
Andrea,
you'll get
show
to see
yourself
some of mine.
off.
Like I say, you'll get to see some of mine in the pictures. But this
Andrea
is actually
too sexy for her cosplay. She's
Y'all don't
so
wanna see
gorgeous.
this
too
one
sexy
is
for her cosplay.
1950s. So you'll get to see a little bit better picture later because I did include my friends and I, because they were for our 3 good fairies from Sleeping Beauty for our Disney bounds in October. So
Oh,
we
good.
had a lot of love in Disneyland, and we felt like superstars that day. And I literally wore the wig all day in Disneyland. They thought I was crazy, but I was like, I got too much hair to do a 50s hairstyle. So we went with actually my
feel
Snow
that.
White wig. So it was
I
nice
feel
and
that.
comfy weather. And Hermes says hi, everybody. He's being
Hi, Hermes.
Oh, that we just went to the same
Yeah.
pitch.
pet
One
Sharon.
brain cell.
He wants on this satin
Hermes
dress.
was my
and I'm
cuddle
like, no.
buddy last time I slept at Andrea's. He literally like just cuddled me for half the night. It was the
He's
best.
Yeah, he
Hermes
needs some
tries to
lap,
go
but
home in my suitcase like every time I visit.
he knows how allergic David is. He's like, I want to go visit him.
Yep. But
Oh,
why don't we go through some of Beth's pictures, and Beth, you can
yes.
talk about each costume. So and these are a little out of order, so I'm going to try to match up the source picture with the costume. I'll do my best because the thumbnails are tiny. So I love this one.
So this is my Victorian tea gown, which is made out of a furisode kimono. And it is based on a couple of extant garments that were made in Japan out of old kimono. There's an upcycling culture in Japan. The term used for it is motanai, which basically translates to kind of a waste not want not kind of philosophy, which is kind of the same thing as they did with clothes in Europe and other areas. As they wear out, you make them into other things, and eventually they turn into dust rags, and you throw them out. So this is the garment that inspired the whole look. This is at the FIDM in Los Angeles. A great place to go when you're trying to research an historical piece is go to museum websites like Victoria and Albert Museum, Art Institute in Chicago, not Chicago, maybe Chicago.
I think so.
The Met Costume Institute. There's a
I wanna go
Japanese
there.
Costume Institute in Kyoto. They have large digitized collections that you can kind of search through by time period and find inspirational pieces to work off of. That's how I found that dress and said I want one. And so I went to Tangerine Mountain, the kimono resellers who you find at a lot of Midwest cons, and found this particular kimono and decided this was the one that I was going to use to make my own version of that gown.
And it's so beautiful.
I
It's
drool over this every time because I love kimono. I love Victorian. It is, and they definitely they embraced the Japanese culture when it started coming over that way.
There
So there
was,
was a very influx of it.
there was a movement called Japanisme, which it went kind of Orientalist, and of course it was the Victorian era, so everything's kind of racist.
Of course.
But there was a lot of like a back and forth conversation between Japanese and European and American culture, where Japanese people were taking Victorian fashion elements, and the Victorians and Americans were taking Japanese fashion elements. You got the aesthetic movement in fashion, which was a less restricted, supposedly healthier because it was less corseted style of fashion that originated out of the Japanese movement. Y'all are learning stuff tonight. But
I could
yeah,
talk about corsets and
but
stuff
this
for
is
hours on
one of the
end.
wonderful things about doing historical cosplay is that you find all of these new and interesting pieces of information that you can kind of bring into your own fashion and your own design style in cosplay. Because when you look at like those tea gowns that are made out of kimono, that's not cultural appropriation. That's a cultural fusion. That's Japan
Yes.
taking European fashion and using their own textiles and their own aesthetics to make it their own.
Yes.
And I
And
love that you're bringing this up because some people have an impression that being super fascinated by Japanese culture and styles is like something people do to be new and edgy. And no, people have always been fascinated by other cultures, and one of the ways it can manifest is caring about the clothing and how it's different
Yes.
when you go different places.
Right.
Definitely, yeah. There's always
Agreed.
been that fascination from the West for the East.
And
how
vice
can you
versa.
not be? It's gorgeous clothing. Like,
The
hello.
clothing is gorgeous. The
Have
culture
eyes.
is absolutely beautiful. I mean, I love the culture and the reasoning behind the clothing too, why they wore things the way they did and that kind of stuff. I love
Yes.
history. So I love this. This is making me so happy.
Pachirisu Chipa. So this is Pachirisu from Pokemon, and the inspiration for this one was 1960s mod fashion. Specifically, I wanted to kind of do a Mary Quant kind of inspired look, and this one was a lot of fun to do. I love that,
Cute.
very sort of graphic, bold, just kind of color blocked style. Um,
No, that's not it.
that's
Sorry.
that's
I don't
Mother.
think you sent me a
I
picture
think
to go with this
I
one.
thought I did. Maybe I
Oh
didn't
no,
go
you
through.
did. You did.
There we go.
Yes.
I
So of course you
love
got the
this
Mondrian
look.
dress and some of the others, the mini skirts and the colorful tights and everything like that. It's such a fun period to look at just sartorially. Um, and personally, I feel like it is one of those fashion moments that gets a little bit overlooked in cosplay. You always see
Mhm.
people doing, 1970s punk, or you see maybe like a hippie style or something like that, or 1980s inspired. But you don't see a lot of mod, and I think
Love
it's
mod.
kind of an underexplored area for
Agreed.
cosplay that I'd like to work with more. I have a bunch of vintage patterns.
And mod looks good
Yeah.
on so many body types.
Yes.
So great. Like it's those
I
straight
love
lines
mod.
and yeah,
Mhm.
and kind of that A-line shape that is so flattering to so
It
many
was very
people.
graphic, like the colors, the straight
Right.
lines, and it just popped. And like I wished I still had. My mom had some of her clothes from the 60s. I wished I still had them. I still have a few of her 70s pieces, but not the 60s pieces, unfortunately.
Yeah. This one's so
Bijou.
cute.
So this is Bijou from Hamtaro. Um, yeah, and she is inspired kind of, there's a little bit of classic Lolita and there's a little bit of 1940s. This is kind of the dress, which is a 1940s day dress with kind of a sailor aesthetic that inspired the idea. Um, and kind of the concept was just kind of to keep that slightly menswear tailored sort of look, but make it really feminine and really cute, and have like a little bit of sort of Madeline kind of a look, and just want it to be cute. I think I succeeded. She's adorable.
You absolutely succeeded.
I
So
love
cute.
it. And I will say, that shirt that I'm wearing under Bijou, that is honestly one of the best pieces that I have ever made in my entire life. Just on the inside, and it's got little pin tucking in the front, and like I'm so
Mm-mm.
proud of that shirt.
As you should be. Okay, this one is the
Mother,
pièce de resistance. Okay.
Mother Moroyo. So Baroyo, I talked about her the last time I was on, I think. She was the woman who made the first cosplays. There she is, with her boy toy, Forrest Ackerman, who's known as Forry. She made their outfits for the 1939 World Science Fiction Convention, which later became Worldcon, which has had a little bit of controversy happening this week. If you've heard about it, you've heard about it. It's pretty funny. Not funny, but like funny. Anyway,
Not funny, haha.
not funny, haha, but oh, you did a bad thing, funny. But yeah, her outfits were inspired by their favorite science fiction movie, Things to Come, and she made hers apparently out of a red satin ball gown that she upcycled. I found that in a zine somewhere, and so I decided that I wanted to pay tribute to Mother a little bit. So I made my own version. Komarebi. Yes, this is Komarebi Flash Photography, who is going to be at Amkey and is available still for some bookings, I believe. But I decided I wanted to make my own version and kind of take sort of a slightly Art Deco feel to it, a little bit showgirl. It's got a lot of rhinestones on it. And just kind of take her original inspiration and just bump it up a little bit for sort of a modern cosplay aesthetic. And the booklet that I'm holding right there, that is actually the welcome booklet to the first World Science Fiction Convention that was handed out to attendees. So found
Oh
a copy
my
of that and printed
gosh.
one out.
It's so cool. I love details like that. That's what makes a costume
Right?
so personal and amazing.
And this is just a glamorous, sexy masterpiece that is just
Legs.
celebrating a piece of cosplay history. I love this so much. This may be my favorite of your costumes, but it's really hard to pick.
Well, they're all beautiful. Everything you do is just top notch.
It's a labor of madness.
Yes.
Yeah.
The love has been out the window a long time ago. It is,
No,
we're all
it's-
crazy. We're
yeah,
the
it's-
Mad Hatter. We're all mad here. You know, it's just, we're
Dragging
crazy.
myself into the grave, trying to make whatever art that I can in the meantime.
We're all
It is
mad
an art.
here.
By the way, I'm wearing my Freud shirt tonight, so
You know, that's the thing.
I
It
forgot
really
to,
is an art. It's fun and it's a hobby, but it is truly an art form to make. Even if you're brand new at it, it is an art. And some people don't think about it that way. They always think art is something drawn or sculpted or painted. They forget that literally being able to create something from a pile of fabrics is an art form. I mean, that's why some of these clothing pieces are still in museums. They are works of art. I know it's almost cliche, but the House of Worth dresses that you can see in museums and stuff, like Worth is artwork. I have an obsession with Worth dresses. It's almost a little unhealthy, maybe.
I forgot to bring up my reference photo during our cosplay catwalk.
Oh, let's do
I
this.
do not want to
Yes.
forget. So I wanted to give a shout out to this book. So indie author Paul Leone has an entire universe setting around it's like this one particular forest area in like fantasy setting England. So you can get stories like from Barsetshire and collections and stuff like that, or in his Immortal Champions stories collections. They go back and forth to this like one particular town near this like basically enchanted forest, but not enchanted in like a Disney way. And my favorite, it's hard to say that. So maybe my favorite character out of that like subsection of this very expansive universe he's written is Zilla Harvey. She moved from rural England, from like Barsetshire, right, to London looking for like better work, more things to do, and someone attempted to murder her in London, and she, through that experience, became a medium. And it's such a cool look at the time period and everything. Paul is also a really big history nerd. I don't mean nerd derisively at all. I just mean like,
He's one of us.
yeah, he's one of us. So I had the absolute pleasure of getting to edit this collection, and so I feel like really close to this character. And I don't really do a lot of historical cosplay, so I mean, I purchased what I'm wearing now, but over time, like, I want, if I start learning how to do some more sewing, like, you pull out dust off my super old like Renaissance fair skills from back in high school. That's the costume that I want to sew, is her on the cover of The Mysteries of Zilla Harvey Volume 1. So
Yes.
you should absolutely check that out by Paul Leone.
I'll
It's
put it
on
on my reading list.
Amazon. You can get it in Kindle. If you want to give his stuff a try before you like
He has a Substack.
he has a Substack, and also The Governess of Greenmere, that's in that same universe, is on Kindle Unlimited. So if you're already subscribed, it doesn't cost you any extra to download it and read it that way. So
Nice.
I went on about that longer than I meant to. I really, really, really,
We get passionate.
I like that universe so much.
Yes,
It's fascinating.
He's amazing. We adore him. And Kate of Cartoon Motion says, "Ooh, psychiatry and psychosis talk fun." Yes, we jam on psychiatry and psychosis.
we are
Talk-
all just a walking pile of neuroses around here.
Amen.
Cade also does. He likes to tie in psychology and media of the past, so cartoons from our childhoods of the 80s and 90s, if you're of a certain age. So his show is definitely worth checking out for anyone who hasn't already. And if you have, good for you, keep watching. And Colleen Gilroy says, "Wow, beautiful, also amazing." And Zilla Harvey sounds great. She is great.
She's fascinating. She carries a sword cane.
That's
I
all
have a
y'all
sword
need to
cane
know.
for
That's what you
Roserade,
need
by
to
the way.
say. And we have a lot of viewer submissions to go through, so I know we have more comments that I haven't gotten to. We love you all. I'm going to go through the
We
viewer
read them,
submissions
we
'cause
promise.
we got a ton
Yes.
because mostly my friends are amazing.
I haven't seen comments.
I'm going to brag on my friends. So this is Jen, aka Orange Girl Fish, who is just spectacular. Like, look
I
at
want
her.
to tackle a dress like this at some point. That's something I haven't done.
Yeah, she's incredible. Yeah, I recognize these ladies.
There's me and Robin and Jordan at Disneyland. They don't usually put people in the center in front of the castle to take pictures. That photographer was like, come on over here. Like, let's go.
Yes. You
So
two
I
look
had to
so
share
cute in
them.
those dresses. Like,
We had a good time.
So cute.
This
Honey
is
Blossom
Colleen.
cosplay.
Cute.
She was doing Penny from Hairspray. So we got this. We got all the way up
Yeah.
to the 60s in our viewer submissions for historical clothing. So this is pretty cool.
I mean, it's fair. My Barbie is
love
from the
Hairspray.
60s, so
No,
I kinda
I
set
think
that standard.
anything vintage or more. I had to put my own Victorian in there.
You're allowed.
That
Victorians
dress,
are amazing.
the silk on that blue one, my friend brought me from Italy, and it color
Nice.
shifts. It's got blue, green, and purple in it, and I was so scared to cut that fabric. I wished I was still
Ugh.
small enough to fit in that dress, but it is in the costume closet, safe.
We understand. It's so pretty.
I love that gown.
And your
French
friend is
press
Call Me
buttons.
Midas if anyone
Yes.
wants to follow this person.
They're an amazing artist.
And this is Lady Victoria's cause Vicky is fantastic. Also a fantastic all-around human. Like, she's just great. And I love all of these looks of hers. She's adorable. And SCF cosplay. Senna is actually going to be on an episode in a month or two. I can't remember our upcoming schedule, but she's going to be on our Ren Fair episode. So she's awesome. She looks so pretty here. And then we have Brendan, who you all know from past episodes. Gingy Weed Met cosplay, just rocking his Assassin's Creed. Such a good look. And a good picture. Neil, aka Denver Hayes. Neil is also so talented.
So many different looks, and I loved all
Is
of
that
these.
Colin Firth, Mr. Darcy?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, he
Yes,
did
it
say
is.
Mr. Darcy.
Nice.
Yeah, he sent that, and I was like, ugh, swoon. And this is Zoe Chocolate, also Zoe.sfx.mua. Zoe is the most talented makeup artist I have ever seen. Just wow. That is one of her makeup looks, and then one of her cosplay looks, and she's just incredible. Like, she regularly posts makeup artist looks, and I'm just like, how? It's witchcraft.
Yes.
This is Ken, aka Zangites. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he just looks awesome.
I love double-breasted tailcoats. I love them.
Right? It's such a good look.
I've made several myself.
And this is Robin cross-playing as Claire from Outlander. I cannot pronounce that. Solo.cos. Robin just rocking that. And Padme was so cute.
So cute.
They were like, I haven't finished any historical cosplay, so all I have is my historical undergarment.
Underwear's some
I
of
was
the
like,
best
ooh
part,
la
though.
la. But
I
as
mean,
we
your
know,
clothing-
historical undergarments cover a lot more than
And also, your
modern.
historical garments don't fit right if you don't have the historical undergarments.
Right. Extremely
Yes.
important.
So Padme looks beautiful, even in the undergarments. This is Jen Watson art, in her
Yvain.
Stardust, Yvain from
Yes.
Stardust. I had a brain fart.
I drool
This
over the
gown is
costuming
just-
in that movie.
So gorgeous. Yeah, the costuming in that movie was incredible. I love that movie, and then I also love the book. They're
They're two totally
separate-
different stories, but they're both fantastic. It's Neil Gaiman,
Yes.
so
God,
this is
Glenn
Glenn.
is so good.
He's amazing.
I adore
Like-
Glenn. Everything he does is just
this is
Yes.
one of the most gorgeous pieces I have seen somebody submit for our viewer submissions. This thing is stunning.
Stunning. That's
I know.
Louis says, I want to say.
I
16th?
think so.
Right around that period, I
So
think.
Glenn and then Jen Orange Go Fish were the two people I tagged specifically. I
You're like,
called
you
them
have
out when
to.
I posted a call for submissions. I was like, I know you two have stuff. Please send it to me. And they did not disappoint because they're both
Our viewers
incredible.
needed to see that.
Like, right? And this is James, Maverick Leo cosplay, and he's rocking some historical stuff. Speaking of people celebrating Asian culture,
Yes.
like he's
Beautiful.
he also is incredible and I adore him. And this is Heidi, otherwise known as 4H.
4-H.
Just,
She is
and that's
become
her
one of my
shield
best
maiden
friends.
that she mentioned that she didn't want to deal with, or she basically did knitting instead of doing her chainmail, which looks fantastic.
Smart.
Her shield maid is.
It's
That's what they
much
did in
lighter
Monty
weight.
Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes.
And this is Ruby and Mark of T-shirt cosplay, which we adore. Ruby and Mark, they
They
are
Love a good
a
musketeer.
lot,
Oh, I want
especially
my own
Ruby. Ruby
musketeer
has a
look.
lot of other Renaissance fair looks. If you want to go to T-shirt cosplay on Facebook or Instagram, like she just uploaded a big batch recently of like back photos from all the Renaissance fairs she's done. So
Go follow all
check it
these
out.
people that we share. Like give them some love, not just watching the show. Go follow them and like what they're posting.
Yes. Oh, Phantom Hive says, my mom was so proud of those stays and I still love them. Your mama
They were
should be
gorgeous.
proud of them because they look amazing. And thank you. It's Hirai F. Okay, I'm going to try to remember Hirai F. And
we do
Phantom Hive
apologize.
says,
We English real well some days around here. It's
you know what? Yeah, it's been a week. Phantom Hive says also agrees Glenn is phenomenal. And then Misty Pierce says, fantastic photos. Agreed. And then Colleen Gilroy says, okay, yeah, Sword Cane is what I gave my dad from ABC.
yeah, that's one of the local conventions
Kate
here.
Also agrees that English sing is hard. And I love that pretty much everyone on our network agrees that English sing is hard. Like, we're podcasters. What are we doing with our lives?
I feel bad
Well,
for
I
the
mean-
people trying to read subtitles from us.
But that's one of the things about being on film all the time is it makes you realize how much we don't speak perfectly in conversation. And then when it's important to be articulate, sometimes the extra pressure, even when you're used to it, makes it worse.
Very true.
There
As
is
the
a
nerd
reason
with an
I'm a
English
writer.
degree, I've just sort of learned to repress all of the rage that just kind of wells up within you when you hear a poorly constructed sentence.
I'm a punctuation fiend, and people that don't type with punctuation, I'm just like wanting to insert commas and periods and all sorts. I'm just like, I can't.
So I will give a shout out for just like the new internet vernacular in which, you know, punctuation is kind of more formal versus, you know, the more casual everyday speech that, you know, doesn't require as much punctuation. You know, it's you know, there are different registers of language.
Very true.
But I will judge you if you misuse an apostrophe. That's where I
Yes.
draw the line.
I'm also an Oxford comma user.
Oxford
so
comma bitch right here.
Yes, Oxford comma full life.
I have an
I-
editing client who doesn't use the Oxford comma.
Oh,
And
God.
so I always end up like putting it in, and then I have to go back and remind myself, like right before I turn the manuscript in, to just go back and delete all those comments because he's not gonna
my
use
brother,
them.
my youngest brother is a writer, and he and I are very much Oxford comma users. And when we don't see it, we're just like, it just I want to like just add one in.
Yep.
Yeah, there's our other historical side, y'all. We're a little bit of worried about punctuation there sometimes.
I still have to get myself to stop double spacing.
After a period,
Before I
yeah.
send-
I
You've
took
noticed
typing
that.
in high school.
Crayley is my editor. She is noticed.
I was typing on a
spacing was-
typewriter in high school, okay? My guys.
I was not, but double spacing was still the standard when I
It was a
first
standard on a
started-
typewriter.
Every
And we stopped
time I
using
open a
typewriters in like
document-
1994, Kelly.
I was still
Every-
using one in high school.
Yeah. Every time I open a document from Kelly, I get a little alert when I switch it over to be editable from Word. This is no, you don't have to double space after a period anymore. And I'm like, I know.
I know too. I know up here.
Your hands
But you
automatically
don't know
do
in
it.
here.
I mean,
I'm
when you're
old,
typing,
y'all, okay?
you go on like autopilot, so your thumbs just kind of hit that space bar really fast and keep on going.
I am double space years old.
I feel that.
And on that note, now that we've established that we're old enough to be historical documents,
The 2000s is technically vintage now.
Which
No,
makes
don't
me
say that.
like everything I wore in high school is what's popular right now. I graduated in 01 and I'm just over here like, we shouldn't have worn some of that then. Why are we wearing it now?
You know what? They can regret it just as much as we do now.
Very true.
And
Look,
we
I
all
am
have to learn these
absolutely here
lessons
for the
eventually.
completely unnecessary belts that are not holding anything up again.
Okay,
I
I
have
am
a
a
whole
belt
drawer.
look.
I have a whole drawer of those from like high school that used to fit around my hips that now I'm putting it like my Empire waistline area because I'm bigger now. And I'm just like, yes, I can wear them again.
Oh, I felt that entire statement a little too closely in my soul.
I should have kept those. I should have. On that note, on that depressing note, Beth, I'm going to give you the screen.
Oh no.
I know. Don't let the power go to your head. Okay. So, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start historical cosplaying?
Well, first thing I'm going to say is you should go to ChizuCon August 24th at the Goodman Community Center in Madison.
Yes.
Because I'm the cosplay contest coordinator and you can ask me things. My advice to people who want to start historical cosplay is pick up a book, go to a museum, do your research. There are plenty of places you can go to find reputable, peer-reviewed, confirmed information about how garments were made and the right and the wrong way to make something historically. And if you decide to do a historical cosplay, decide how historical you want to be, because we're cosplayers, we're not reenactors. We can decide that if we're going to make a Tudor gown, which was, prior to the invention of the sewing machine, we can decide, you know what, I'm a cosplayer, I can use a sewing machine on this. Or you can decide, I'm going to go completely historically accurate and completely hand sew the thing and use absolutely no synthetic fabrics and materials whatsoever. You get to decide how much you want to do on your historical journey. So, and that's the beautiful thing about cosplay, is getting to decide, what's your art and how are you going to express it. Also, don't start cosplaying. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. This is the third time I'm saying it. Don't do this to yourself. Take us back, Kelly.
If you're gonna do it, just buy it so you don't
Yes.
out like those crazy people. Those of us sitting there
But
with the
once you
sewing
start
machine at
buying
3
it,
a.m.
then you can't stop, and that's so expensive. But nowadays, it's also cheaper to buy your costumes than it is to make your costumes.
It's always been
Depending
cheaper to
on-
buy than to
on what you're
make.
ordering.
And I'm still the psycho that's like, but I'm gonna hand make this thing that I can go buy for half the price because I like torturing myself.
Yes, but it's so satisfying to make it yourself.
It really is. Oh, I love.
Also,
looking
my
at something and go,
practical
"I made
point
that."
of advice for everybody is steam or iron your cosplay before you wear it, whether you've made it, whether you bought it, whether you found it in a dumpster. Steam it, iron it, whack it with a hammer, do whatever you do to get those wrinkles out. You're going to look so much better, so much more crisp, so much more polished. You're going to like the way you look. So that's my
And-
practical piece of advice for everybody.
On that pressing, if
I'm
you're
so
making
bad
it,
at
press
not
your
doing
seams.
that. I need to.
Yeah,
I need
press
to-
your seams when you're sewing,
Kelly.
because if you don't press your seams, they don't look finished. You can literally be a beginner, and if you press those seams nice and pretty, it's going to look more professional than if you don't. The iron is your
Okay,
friend.
But iron? No, it's not. Ironing is like makes me feel like a
It's the
50s
o-
housewife. But okay, okay.
The only time I iron is with cosplay. I don't iron my own regular clothes.
I
That's what the
did an
dryer's for.
internship in the DC area that required business formal dress.
Ugh.
And there was one guy and me who knew how to use an iron. They provided them with, like, in the intern house where we all lived. They had 4 ironing boards and 4 irons because they knew we were gonna need them. And literally, like, without any of the, like, adultier adults making us, at one point, me and the other guy who knew how to iron were just like, okay, everybody come to the basement, and we're just gonna do a little lesson here, because, like,
It's not that hard to iron. Like, how do they
Just
not
learn
know
the settings.
well, if you've never done it before, and now you're holding something that could literally burn your clothes, and you don't have a very good budget because you're an intern, like, the intimidation factor alone makes it a little harder to figure out on your own.
Learn
So,
the difference
like,
between
once we showed
natural and
people that you can
synthetic
put sleeves and
fibers.
stuff over the shoehorn bit, like, people started figuring it out on their own after that. But
On that note, we are out of time. So, Beth, where can people find you?
Curled up in the fetal position.
But
Most,
don't try to find her curled up in the fetal position. She does not
no,
want
if I'm
to.
in the fetal position, I don't want to talk to you. Mostly on Instagram, laughing_rat. You'll know me by the rat profile picture because I have rats and I like them a lot. So yeah, if you want to follow me for some god awful reason, that's where you're going to find me most often.
They won't be disappointed.
Oh, they're
I
not
think
going to be like my mom then.
They're going to see beautiful work and adorable rats.
And isn't that what we all
not
want
to
in our
love?
lives?
That's it. That's simple things. That's what women want in life, guys.
Yes. And Crayley, where can people find us?
well, so if you go to linktree.com/Phoenix Sis Cosplay, so it's Phoenix SIS Cosplay, no punctuation or anything on the end of that, you're gonna find our TikTok, our Instagram, our Facebook, a link to order the paper dolls we made of our costumes that are adorable,
They're so cute.
my Pokeball dioramas that I make, and Kelly's books. There's more there than that, but I think those are some of the, like, most popular and most recent things.
much.
Like, we do way too much. Like, if we were one of those, like, if we tried to real life picture how many irons we have in the fire would get smothered out. It'd just be buried under iron.
Speaking of irons, but not the same type of irons.
No.
Andrea, where can people find you?
Mostly I am on Instagram, Media Rice. It's MEHDIA_RAIISE. That's the best place to find me most of the time. It cross posts to my Facebook, but just go to my Instagram. No kitty cat, don't jump on the table. Sorry. I got a cat that's like really eyeballing my mic right now.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching. And we have one more little video for you all to watch to support us. But we appreciate you all. We missed you all while we were on break. So thank you for watching. We are obsessed with Belle Polk. For elegant retro fashion and styles ranging from the 20s through the 70s, Belle Polk is the site for you. Use discount code PSC15 for 15% off.